Okay, so welcome everyone. We are here to read together A Course in Miracles, the text. And my name's Eloisa Ramos, and I am here with some friends. Do you guys want to introduce yourself? Just tell us your name, anything
Hi,
else.
I'm Sonia. That's all.
And I'm Connie. Happy to be
And
here.
I'm Teresa.
Okay, so welcome. And we may have Karine come in a little bit later, I'm not sure. But so anyway, we are here together to go through the text of A Course in Miracles. We already started with the preface, and then we did the clarification of terms, which is listed here online after the preface, but in the book itself, it's after the manual for teachers. And I'll have those videos up soon so people can go back and listen to those. So we're just going to start with the introduction. And we're just taking paragraph by paragraph. So I'll go ahead and start with the first paragraph. Introduction to A Course in Miracles. This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. Okay, so there's quite a bit there. Let's see. So first of all, I mean, the title, it's A Course in Miracles. Okay, that's the first line. This is A Course in Miracles. And, you know, anyone that is curious about miracles, I think would at least, you know, open up the book if they found it somewhere. They say, oh, Course in Miracles, okay. And you'd probably begin to kind of leaf through it because the word miracle itself is either going to really intrigue you and captivate you, or it's just going to be like, whatever, you know, it's not really going to have any significance or any kind of, it's not going to have much interest to you necessarily. Okay, but for those of us that come to the course, I think that it does have some kind of draw for us. I think that we're all looking for, in some way, we're looking for a miracle, maybe because we are seeking for a solution to a problem that we have, or maybe because we're looking for healing, or you know, for some reason, it's something that we have not been able to solve, or we haven't been able to find. And for me, I came to the course because I was looking for a way to help my kids when they were younger, and had a lot of allergies and asthma. And I wasn't really able to find, let's see, a solution that would really heal that. I mean, I found, of course, medicine that could manage it, which was great. But I was really looking for something beyond that. And I was looking really for the answer to my question of suffering, because I could see my kids suffering. And the question is, how is it possible for a loving God to allow innocence? Children, we tend to look at children as innocent, okay? To allow children to suffer. And so that's what really opened me up to this course and to studying it and to basically practicing it. Yeah. Anyone else?
I think I was just looking for, I wasn't sure, just more joy, more happiness, more peace of mind. And so I think that, yeah, after doing many different types of spiritual work and things, I just was searching for something else. And I found it.
Good.
Course in Miracles.
Yay. Okay. All right. So sentence 2, it is a required course. Okay. And, that can seem a little bit like, whoa, wait a minute. Why is it required? Okay. And I think that, okay, let's do the next sentence together. Okay. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Okay, so what it's really talking about is that this is a spiritual path, and it's in one form. Okay, there's many spiritual paths, and for that reason, the spiritual path in general is the required course. It's not saying that this specifically as a spiritual path is a required course. What it's saying is that if we find ourselves to be here on in this time earth plane, there's lessons that we came to learn. And that learning is the course, is those lessons that, are going to heal our mind and wake us up to what the truth is, like Connie was saying, to joy, to happiness, to peace, to love. And so the time that we take it is voluntary, because no one is forcing us. It's not, it's not K through 12 education where everyone is required to go to it, or you have to be homeschooled kind of thing. Okay. It's up to us how long we want to take to learn what we came here to learn. It maybe, if you believe in reincarnation, maybe it's going to take a few lifetimes. And that's okay, because the time you take is up to you. It's voluntary. And so number 4 is free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. So just because it's up to us, it's voluntary how long it takes us to learn those lessons, it does not mean, and we have free will, that does not mean that that we're establishing the curriculum, because the curriculum has already been established in the sense that all spiritual paths lead to the same place, meaning to the mind awakening to truth, or enlightenment. And so all roads lead to the same awakening, because in truth, it's one mind. And so we don't get to decide that let's see, I don't get to make up what I want to learn, because I think that it would be fun to learn that and not learn, I don't get to say, okay, I'm going to skip kindergarten, 1st and 3rd grade, and I'm just going to go to 4th grade and learn that, because I don't like the lessons in kindergarten to 3rd grade. So I'm just going to jump to 4th grade. I like those lessons. And so, okay, but it means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. So yes, we can elect to take at a given time, but that doesn't mean that we're establishing the curriculum. So in a way, you could say you could jump to fourth grade, but that would be kind of hard because you want to skip through, kind of the basics. But that doesn't mean it's not possible, because sometimes you start reading the Course in Miracles and you say, oh my God, this is going to take forever to learn and to understand and to practice. I'm never going to be done, but that's not actually, it's not actually true. That's just when we begin to recognize how many things we have taught ourselves that are not true. And when we begin to really see how many of those things are upside down, it can feel like a little bit overwhelming, like, oh my God, when is this going to get corrected? Because there's so much to correct. But there's several places where the Course says that if you would just learn this one little lesson, that you would learn everything. So it's not that there's a lot to learn, it's that it's the same lesson repeated over and over and over in different ways, because our thinking mind has taken everything that is whole and therefore very simple to understand, and we've broken it up into all these tiny little pieces that are like this complex jigsaw puzzle that we look at with millions of little pieces, and we're like, oh my God, how am I going to put that together? But each little piece actually by itself has a picture of the whole. And if you could just understand that little picture and then generalize it to all the little pictures, then you would have the whole thing. Okay, so let's see. Anything there? No. Okay. The Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. Okay. So right off the bat, it's saying, no, the lesson is not for you to learn the meaning of love. Okay. That is your natural inheritance. Okay. And in effect, you have thrown it away. Okay. And now what you're gonna learn is that it really, really is valuable and that you want it back. And that you are willing to remove all these blocks that seem to have been more valuable at the time that made you throw this natural inheritance away. And once you remove those blocks, you're going to become aware that, oh my God, I didn't throw my natural inheritance away. It's actually been with me the whole time. But because what I value, either I'm going to value what is real and loving, or I am going to value what is not real and not loving. I can't see both. I'm either going to be invested in what I think is valuable, but is really not eternal. It's not eternal joy. It's not, it's not that inner peace that doesn't change with whatever happens in my life. So I can't, what's the word? I can't have it both ways. And so I have to finally make up my mind, which one is truly more valuable. Okay, number 8, the opposite of love is fear. but what is all encompassing can have no opposite. And so basically my choice is only between love or fear. But it makes it very clear here that love, true love, the love of God that is unconditional, okay, has no opposites. But in the world of love that is conditional, which is this world of bodies that come and go, of emotions that come and go, of allegiances, loyalty, friendships, marriages, anything you can think of that comes and goes and that we consider to be love. In this world, there's a lot of fear because we can lose what we quote unquote love. And that's the most ridiculous idea in the realm of knowledge, because love is all there is. So how can you lose all it is, all that you are, all that everything is? It's just not possible. But, and that's why it says what is all encompassing can have no opposite. So the realm of knowledge, of absolute truth of God, is just love. And it can have no opposite. But for the mind that has believed it has separated from that, then there is fear, because there is nothing that is eternal and everything comes and goes. And so the thing that we are infatuated with, attached with, enamored with, comes to us and it can easily just go away. And that's devastating most of the time. And so, okay. Anything there? Okay, so number 2, Sonia, do you want to read that?
2. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. 2. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Mhm. Yes, so it's almost, you know, once you start studying the course, and most of us have studied it for years, it's really amazing to think that these 2 lines right here summarize the whole course. See, this course can be summed up just in these 2 lines. But it really, really does, because in these 2 lines, the mind recognizes the difference between the eternal and the non-eternal. And the eternal is what is real. And here we have it upside down. So we have made everything that's physical, the world of physicality, the world of personas and personalities, to be what reality is. And therefore, we experience a loss of quote unquote reality, which doesn't make any sense. But because we experience a loss of reality, we think that there's unreality. So we think that reality and unreality go together. And in a sense, when we break it up like that, we make both of those real. And see this, the next sentence is nothing unreal exists. And that's why duality, as we make it out to be in a world where opposites exist, is not real. Because it implies separation, it implies opposition. And let's see. And it implies contradiction. And if two things are opposites and they contradict each other, then which one is real? You see, there's all this uncertainty, there's all this fear that comes in there, because they both cannot be real if they're opposites. So either you take one side or you take the other. You're going to believe one side or you're going to believe the other. And this is where we see so much conflict in the world, because we're going to believe that, you know, politically I'm right, politically you're wrong, or morally you're right, and morally, you know, I'm wrong, or vice versa. So, so the teachings of A Course in Miracles are non-dualistic, meaning that back to line 8, the opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. So ultimately, that's the main distinction that we learn, the difference between what is non-dualistic, which is all-encompassing and has no opposite, does not exclude, does not judge, does not see differences, is just love, unconditional love. So, and the last line, herein lies the peace of God. So to recognize that conflict is not real, okay, that non-duality cannot be real, means that fear cannot be real. And therefore, herein lies the peace of God. Because if we did not fear anything, would we ever lose our peace of mind? No, we wouldn't, right? Because fear, and when you think about fear and all the other emotions that come from that, that's when we are not at peace. So, yeah, anyway, any comments, any questions? No?
No.
Okay, all right, so let's go.
Oh, good.
Yep, good. Okay, let's go into the principles of miracles.
Yeah, these are all the miracles, right? Let's see. Yeah.
Yep, the meaning of miracles.
Okay.
Let's see. So do you want to start, Connie, with number
Sure.
1?
Okay. The first miracle principle is there is no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than another. They are all the same. All expressions of love are maximal.
Yes. So in other words, the love of God, okay, which is the source of the miracle, is maximal, because to love, there is no degree of intensity. So in the world, we break up love into, you know, there's friendship love, there's romantic love, there's the love I feel for my pet, there's, you know, there's different degrees of intensity in the love and in how you express it. But for the love of God, which is the source of the miracle, it's all the same. It's completely maximal. There's no degree of difference, no degree of difficulty. That's why, you know, if we ask for a miracle in our life and say that we are suffering from, I don't know, pick anything. You can pick cancer, you can pick, I don't know, arthritis, you can pick anything. And we ask for healing, we ask for a miracle, or maybe our relationship with our family is really in conflict, okay? And we're asking for joining, we're asking for the miracle of healing our relationships. It doesn't have to be, healing just illness. It can be healing relationships, or maybe we're really stuck in poverty and scarcity, and maybe we're just barely, you know, paying our rent and fearful we're going to be homeless. So whatever the difficulty, whatever the problem is that we're experiencing, and if we're asking for miracles, okay, it's not that it's not like we're saying, oh my God, I'm asking for too much because I have terminal cancer. Maybe if I had just caught it at the beginning, maybe that miracle would be easier than asking for a miracle where I'm terminally ill already. And so what this is saying is that the miracle does not see those differences, okay? Because the love that it's coming from is unconditional. And therefore healing is healing irregardless of what the degree of difficulty that has been judged for the problem that we're trying to solve. In other words, it doesn't matter how big of a problem the doctor says it is, or how big of a problem I judge it to be. So none of that matters to the miracle, because it does not see size or degree in differences, because it does not see separation. Is that pretty clear? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is interesting how, like people can say, the death of a child is just the worst thing that could ever happen, or my cancer is worse than yours, or, just those are a lot of things that, or with the virus, this person's worse than that person. And so there's always been degrees of things, or my job is more important than your job. And yeah.
Yes, because we're looking for the solution, not to come from God, but we're looking for the solution to come from us. So we're looking to other medical experts to solve our problem, you see, and therefore that one doctor would say, well, I'm sorry, you need a specialist to deal with your problem, because I can't help you. I'm not qualified. So if we're looking for a miracle to come from the medical profession who diagnosed the problem in the first place, okay, we're seeking for the solution where at the same level that the problem is. And that's why there's going to be differences, because the problem was defined to be part of that continuum of difficulty. From an easy problem, yeah, we can solve it, no problem, oh, okay, so you broke your arm, okay, no problem, we'll put in the cast, and it is, we've done this plenty of times, okay, don't worry about it, it'll be fine, okay. Yeah, but if the problem is, something like, kidney, that, you're going to need a kidney transplant. Oh my God, so then that's on this scale over here, that's like a 9 out of 10 in difficulty. And so so we're not looking for the solution to come from beyond where the problem was made. We're looking for the solution at the same level where the problem was made. Because that's how we judge in the world. We experience when we try to do things for ourselves. That's what we experience. We say, well, that's easy for me because I've done it many times. And that's hard for me because I'm new at this. I've never done it, so so it's a matter of perception. It's a matter of belief. It's a matter of, how much experience someone has, whether how easy and how hard something is. Okay. Number 2. Let's see. Teresa, do you want to read number 2?
Miracles as such do not matter. The only thing that matters is their source, which is far beyond evaluation.
Okay. So this can be a little bit like, what do you mean miracles do not matter? That's what I want. I'm asking for a miracle. And now you're telling me it doesn't matter. Okay. So the purpose of the miracle and the healing aspect of the miracle itself is that it connects us to the source of the miracle, which is unconditional love. Okay. And that unconditional love is what is our true nature and our true inheritance and what is our true self. Okay. And to come to get a glimpse of that is what the miracle is. And for that reason, the miracle itself does not matter. What really matters is the insight and the remembering of what love is, because it's an experience of unconditional love that's not coming from the world. It's coming from beyond the world of space and time. So it's not saying that miracles are worthless. It's saying that they serve the purpose of us remembering what we are in truth, which is that experience of love, which is not what the Course can teach us, but it is what we can experience through the miracle. Okay, so let's see. I'll take number 3 then. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. And in this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. So that's, a little bit of what I was saying, that the source of the miracles is love. And when the miracle occurs and we recognize it, it's because we are in a place of being connected to love, and therefore we are expressing love. And that has power. That has a lot of power to heal the mind. Because the mind that does not recognize its true source, its true being as loving, you can say is sick, because it believes it has lost its connection to love. And so the real miracle is the love that inspires them, because it means that we are not separate, but we are one with that love. And that is the recognition that we have never left our source. And so in this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. I look at miracles a little bit like blessings. It's something that shows up that leaves us feeling blessed and feeling full of gratitude, because the experience is it's a remembering of what we truly are, which we had forgotten. And therefore, it's an experience of the divine, which is our true nature. But when we identify with the body, when we identify with our personality, with our preferences, with, you know, our roles in the world, our position in the world, we forget that we're not all of that, because all of those things come and go and they change. And, you know, if we invest our sense of identity and self with that, we're going to be very disappointed, and we're going to suffer, and we're going to be sick, because a lot of that stuff can be very traumatic when we're dependent on it, and then it's gone. One day we lose our job, you know, one day let's see, you know, we go bankrupt, you know, or we get sick, and then we can't go to work or whatever. So okay, so number 4, let's see, I don't remember whose turn it is. Is it Sonia?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
go. All miracles mean life, and God is the giver of life. His voice will direct you very specifically. You will be told all you need to know.
Okay. So this is I think it's an important principle here, because all miracles mean life, and God is the giver of life. We, we as a body, we as an ego want to take credit and want to believe that we are the giver of life. I mean, when I go water my plants and I'm watering my plant and I think, oh my goodness, you know, if I had not watered this today, it would have been all wilted tomorrow and maybe dead in 2 days. Okay, when I have that thought, I am believing that I am somehow giving this plant life as if it did not already have life itself given to it. And the same thing, you know, with children. You know, if we think, oh my God, I am the mother, I am the father, and I gave birth, you know, to these children, so I gave them life. And without me, you know, they would just wither away like that little plant, you know, and they wouldn't exist. Well, that's not true. It's a nice delusion, you know, but everybody is given life, and the source of it is God. And so we all share that same source of life. And we also have what we call his voice. The Course calls it the Holy Spirit. You can call it higher mind, you can call it universe, whatever, however you want to call it, but that voice will direct you very specifically. So in other words, we have communication that is specifically there to help us and guide us. And we just need to trust. Okay, you will be told all you need to know. So we do not have to take charge, quote unquote, of my life, you know, because without my taking charge of my life, it would just fall apart. And I'm the one that's, you know, makes it what it is. So basically I'm saying I give myself life. I make myself what I am. And that's, it's very easy to fall into that. Because it's very enticing, you know, it has a sense of grandiosity to it, of, you know, yes, I am, you know, I am in charge. I got things, I'm on, you know, it's under control. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. I'm the superhero kind of a thing, you know, until of course we can't. And, you know, and then of course we have to face that that's not true. So Um, so yeah, we need to be very, very clear that the giver of life is God, period. However you want to call that source, to try to let's see, to try to usurp that power from God, is going to make us feel like we are separate from God and like we are on our own and alone, and we're going to close our connection to this voice that's within us, because this voice is going to tell us, no, you have not separated yourself from God. Okay. And we want to believe in that illusion. So for that reason, all miracles mean life, and they remind us of the source of life. And so, believe it or not, many times we are not open to miracles. And that's why the Course says that miracles are normal and everyday. Okay, but where are they? Why don't we see them? Well, because we don't want to see them. You know, we don't want to see them because we want to hold on to this idea that we have taken over our own life and we're in charge. So why would we, it's sort of like a, oh man, there's a lot of arrogance and pride there when we would rather hold on to our sense of self-sufficiency, to not feel like we are dependent on God. And we suffer for that. So anyway. Okay, number 5. Connie?
Okay, number 5. Miracles are habits and should be involuntary. They should not be under conscious control. Consciously selected miracles can be misguided.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what the Course says is that consciousness was the first split in the mind. And so consciousness is the level of belief. This is where we perceive what we want to perceive. That's what consciousness is. We are conscious that, that what I touch, okay, in this case, I am touching what I've labeled to be a body. So anything that I can be conscious of is what I can perceive. And that level is the domain of the ego. Okay. And for that reason, consciously selected miracles can be misguided. Because the ego is very, very quick to want to take credit and control for what is the miracle. And so sometimes, you are witness to a miracle, and then the first thing that people want to say is like, they're going to look to find some kind of explanation. Oh, well, it must have been, you're like, oh, you're healed completely from your sickness. Well, what did you do? What did you take? What were the, what was your diet? What was your routine? Which doctors did you go see? What, so, I mean, if you say, well, the miracle, I was just healed by God, they're going to like, okay, sure. And they're going to go away. Because, because that means that you can't take credit for them. You can't, control them. And so miracles are habits and should be involuntary. So you could say that the practice of forgiveness, okay, which is what the Course in Miracles really emphasizes, okay, can actually become a habit. And forgiveness has a way of helping us to remember what we truly are. Because when we forgive, we are choosing love rather than conflict, rather than fear. And when we make that choice, we are remembering what is the truth about us and about life, about God, about everyone. And and in making that a habit, we are making the choice for the miracle a habit, because either we choose forgiveness or we choose to hold the grievance. We choose to hold resentments. We choose to hold, let's see, anything that to stay away from that person, you know, to think badly of that person, to blame that person. And that's separation. That puts a barrier. And that's the perception of separation. So the habit of forgiving will bring about the recognition that our true identity is love. Um, and that means that we are not separate from our source, which is the miracle, which is the undoing of separation, which is the change in mind from perceiving separation to perceiving oneness. Um, so and so for that reason, let's see. Yeah, it's not an intentional, conscious thing that we can control and that we can manipulate. Okay, because the ego would get a hold of that, would try to, you know, that would be ego-centered. You know, look at, let's see, look at how special I am. I can perform miracles, you know. So now we're back to, you know, differences. I'm better than you. You know, I have been chosen by God, you know, sort of that kind of thing. I have been given by, you know, gifts by God, which make me special. And, and, um, and yes, we're all given gifts by God, but it's not because God perceives us as separate and special. It's precisely because we're not separate from God. And we are all the same, and we all have access to that love that brings about the miracle. So let's see. Okay, anything there? Nope. Okay. Okay, Teresa, number 6.
Miracles are natural. When they do not occur, something has gone wrong.
Yeah, and that's completely upside down, right? From what we believe in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, because we think miracles are, oh my goodness, they're rare. Yeah, that's a miracle. Well, that's really rare. And so they're definitely not normal, according to the world. They're abnormal. Okay, and so this is just saying the opposite. No, they're actually just natural. And if they don't occur, then we're in our wrong mind. Something has gone wrong. We're not perceiving correctly, you know. So we're perceiving upside down. Okay, so number 7. Okay, I'll read that one. Miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. Okay. Okay, so so right off the bat, miracles are everyone's right. Everyone has a right to a miracle. Okay. However, the purification is another word for removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. Okay. And if we're going to be holding unforgiveness, if with ourselves, with others, and we're suffering and we're sick, and we're not going to let those go, then we're going to hold on to those blocks. And those blocks are literally toxic to us. Okay. Because it's not our true nature. Our true nature is innocence, is purity, is holiness. Okay. And for us to try to hold on to something that is divisive, that is, with to attack, to judgment, to blame. So to try to hold on to all of that, okay, is like throwing mud at a window, okay, and then saying, okay, I expect the light to come through and shine on me as a miracle. And that light is definitely trying to come through the window, but hello, you got to clean that window up, So, yeah, and frankly, we can be pretty split on the miracle because, uh, we can be afraid of love. I mean, of true unconditional love, because it can seem like the unknown to us. So yeah, we can go into fear, and therefore we're not going to receive that miracle because we're stuck in the fear, and fear believes that that the light, that God is in opposition, and that's a block to allowing that light to come through. Okay, number 8. Let's see. Oh, is it my turn? No, I don't remember.
I don't remember
I
either.
think it's Teresa. I just read.
You just read? Okay, go Teresa, number 8.
Did I? Oh.
Miracles are healing because they supply a lack. They are performed by those who temporarily have more for those who temporarily have less.
Yes. Okay. So, so in the world of time, that's why it says temporarily. So it's talking about time, temporarily. So miracles are healing because they supply lack. So anytime that we feel lacking, that we feel in need, that we feel without something, and we perceive that it's outside of us, that somehow we have lost it, or somehow it has been taken away from us, and we feel incomplete and we feel empty. Okay. It's because we believe that we have lost our wholeness. We have lost, everything, or we have lost, a part of us. We are experiencing loss. And to experience loss is to believe that we have changed ourselves and are no longer the way that God created us, whole, perfect, eternal. And therefore we're identified with being an ego, a body that functions separately on its own and tries to survive on its own, tries to provide for itself the best it can. And it's obviously failed if we're feeling lack. We have failed to provide for ourselves. Okay. And because of that state of believing that we are not one with our source, not our whole self, the miracle, which is unconditional love, is healing that thought, because it's the experience that we have not changed ourselves, that we are still as God created us. We're not the body. We're not the ego. We are the Son of God, and therefore whole and complete and lack nothing. And they are performed by those who have recognized that. And we can easily think of Jesus Christ, who performed all those miracles for people. Okay. And obviously, he was completely, without a doubt, the Son of God, and he knew that. And therefore, he had more. He had everything. He had knowledge of who he truly was. And therefore, he could share that and offer that because he had it. He recognized it. He knew it. And so that's why he could perform miracles for those who temporarily have less. You could say it's a little temporary amnesia. Okay, that they forgot. Oh my goodness! Of course, I'm not separate from God. So it's a little bit like a tuning fork. The vibration of you could maybe that's why they call it higher mind. So it's a higher vibration that of knowing that you are everything and have everything, and that vibration can resonate with the divine self that is within everyone, and therefore that resonance wakes up the memory of what is true in the person who's believing they're in lack. Okay, so number 9, I'll take number 9. Let's see. Miracles are a kind of exchange, like all expressions of love, which are always miraculous in a true sense. The exchange reverses the physical laws. They bring more love both to the giver and the receiver. Yeah, so I think the tuning fork is a good metaphor, because you can see that when you have a tuning fork, it's vibrating to a particular frequency. Okay, and anything that can pick up that frequency is going to vibrate in the same way. So you could say that it's kind of exchanging, it's resonance as an exchange, let's see. You know how in an orchestra, people start tuning all their instruments? So it's a little bit like that. Okay. Finally, everyone's in harmony. Okay. So, so that's what that's the expression of love. So if you start expressing love, okay, it's like the other instrument says, oh, wait a minute. Okay. I want to be in harmony. And so I raise the vibration of my instrument to match, to be in harmony. And so this takes the other instrument, brings it out of those low vibrating lack energy, and raises the vibration, which can appear to be a reversal of physical laws. That's why the miracle seems to undo what would normally be considered normal in the world. If cancer is incurable, then how is it possible that a miracle can cure it? So the physical law is really just the agreement that says we cannot we have not found the cure for cancer. Okay. And that's the physical law that says until we find the cure for cancer, it cannot be cured. And then here comes the miracle and cures it. Okay, so it reverses those laws. And they bring more love both to the giver and the receiver. Yes, because it's like the tuning fork. The vibration, the ability to raise the vibration is already in each of the instruments, in each of us. And so we can all raise our vibration because the source of that vibration is within all of us. And that's why there's no lack there. And it supports both the giver and the receiver by joining, just like the orchestra becomes fuller, and when they're in harmony, it becomes an increase for all of them to become whole. Okay, number 10, Sonia.
The use of miracles as spectacles to induce belief is a misunderstanding of their purpose.
Okay, so sometimes, the abilities that we are given that come from God, that are instruments for performing miracles, can be used kind of like a spectacle. Like maybe you can, let's see, maybe you're psychic. Maybe you're able to tune into, where the illness, maybe you're an intuitive that you can tune into the illness of a person simply by talking to them or something like that. Okay, but if all of a sudden you decide, oh, okay, well, I can just take this gift and I'm going to open up an online, what's the word? I don't know, tarot reading, or I can open up some kind of psychic, I can use that as a way to entertain people, to capture attention, to help them. But I can maybe say, this is how I'm going to help them believe in miracles. I'm going to levitate, okay, right in front of them, or I'm going to, perform magic tricks and guess which card, they picked without my looking at it, and so and so that's what he's talking about, is to use miracles as spectacles to induce belief is a misunderstanding of the purpose. So the purpose of the miracle is for healing the mind, okay, for becoming aware of our true essential nature as love, okay. And if we start using it as a spectacle, and we may have good intentions, to try to draw people in and say, oh, I'm a student of Course in Miracles and I can read your mind. Okay. And maybe your intention is to draw more people in. The purpose of it would not be for the healing of the mind, and so that's would be the misunderstanding of their purpose. So, okay. So 11, let's see. So
That would be me.
Okay.
Okay. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It is a means of communication of the created with the creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed.
Okay. Yes. So, so prayer, depending on, how you learn to pray, and depending on what that means to you, okay, it can be misinterpreted here, because when it's talking about prayer, it's talking about communication. So we want to look at it. We want to look at prayer as an opening to receiving communication from God. Okay, so when we go into prayer is because we want to connect with God. When we pray to God is because we want to establish a connection with God. And it is that connection that is the medium of miracles. Because they come from God. So of course they're going to be let's see, an opening to the divine. And so it is a means of communication of the created with the creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. So, so if we wanted to talk about the, let's see, the attitude of prayer to receive love and to and to be able to express miracles, the love, then we would have to say that it is a it is an attitude of receptivity, being receptive, of being open, of being humble, because through prayer love is received, and receiving is it's not that easy. We think that it would be easy because, you know, we don't have to do anything to receive. We just have to open and receive, right? It's just receiving. but the problem is that we are used to getting. See, we're used to getting. We're not used to just being open and trusting and knowing that we're going to be provided for, and therefore receiving. And so the Course talks about coming to God with fully empty hands. You see, because if we're always getting, our hands are not going to be empty, because we have to hold on to whatever we get because we're afraid we're going to lose it. So the receiving through prayer, when I go to God to pray, I'm in this position because I'm in a place of lack, of need. And I say, oh my God, I need help, you know? And so that's sort of the attitude of, through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. It's also given. So it's always that empty hand of receiving and then of giving.
Well, thank you for addressing just the word prayer, because that is just, I get a little bit of a trigger from that. And I know it's just a word. So how you used it as just a communication, you know, and it's the same thing, but for some reason that word just for me is a little bit
Yeah, it can be pretty charged. You know, it can be pretty charged, because a lot of times the prayer, especially in the Old Testament Bible, in the Old Testament, you know, a lot of the stories in there have to do with praying to God that is, what is the word? That is, that can be pleased and that can be displeased, that can be angered and that can be moved to battle for us. And so the prayer often is a communication to get something from God.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like pleading. Okay, give me that job, give me a car. That's what it just feels like to me. And a lot of times people do use it in that way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than being open to receive. It's about getting, like you said. Yeah.
Yes. And once we go into the getting, it's an idea of controlling,
Yeah.
like just a little child throwing a temper tantrum. Give me this, give me this. So yeah. And I understand that because, we can get into very desperate situations. And when we're desperate, we kind of resort back to this very primitive little child that cannot provide for themselves and feels completely, fearful and dependent. And so, and that's why we need, that's why we need to ask for help to release that, because that's actually a block. That's actually an obstacle to receiving. The getting is an obstacle to receiving, because you can't have your hands open if you're trying to grab. So even though God is giving us, we're not opening the hands to receive it.
I think, at least for me, what I'm understanding through this is that the getting is coming from just pure lack. So anything that you get is automatically finite, right? So it's always going to be finite because you're going to be scared of losing it. But anything that you receive is coming from infinite source that has to increase. So it's always going to be love, I guess.
Yes, unconditional. Yep. Yeah, and so we find sometimes that the grasping, the not letting go, it a lot of times shows up as greed. Even when we live in scarcity and poverty, we can experience a lot of greed, precisely because we're so desperate to not lose what we're holding on to, that we're not willing to share it. And because we're not willing to give and open the hands, we cannot receive. So we're actually closing ourselves to receiving because we're closing ourselves to giving and letting it go.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Is it my turn? 12?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. So miracles are thoughts, and thoughts can represent the lower or bodily level of experience, or the higher or spiritual level of experience. So one makes the physical and the other creates the spiritual. Yes. So
that's interesting. Miracles are thoughts. Okay.
But remember that the thoughts have an energy signature or a vibration to them. Okay, so, and you can notice that in your own thinking. So some thoughts will bring you peace, and that's, what all the lessons in A Course in Miracles are there to help us, is to come back and return to a place of inner peace, inner stillness, okay, safety, contentment, joy, all of that. But then there's other thoughts, they're fear thoughts. Okay, and so those thoughts are very jarring, but you could also say they're very stimulating. So for that reason, they can be very attractive. Because, okay, so, you know, they can be pleasurable, but then they can also be painful. So, and that's why the thoughts that represent the lower or the bodily level of experience are those thoughts that are going to be a stimulant for pain or pleasure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when it says that one makes the physical and the other creates a spiritual, what it does is that when we have those thoughts and when we are experiencing physical pleasure or physical pain, stimulation, anywhere in between, we're going to be identified with the body because it's really, you know, who can deny what they're feeling in their body? So we tend to really identify with that experience as ourself. And the other one, the higher, the spiritual level of experience would be the experience of not being a body and therefore not being limited and therefore connecting to the spiritual nature of what we are, which is unbounded, unlimited. Not as a dissociation from the body, okay? Because we still know that we have a body, but we know we are not the body, okay? So we're not just like cutting off the feelings and the emotions and the pain, but we're disidentifying from them so that we don't get personally stuck in that identity.
Mhm, mhm. I think it's almost 12.
Mhm.
Oh, we go to 12.
We
Right.
do.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so I think, do you want to do one more?
I think it's Sonia's turn.
Okay, Sonia, 13.
Miracles are both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order. They are always affirmations of rebirth, which seem to go back but really go forward. They undo the past in the present and thus release the future.
Okay, so because their source of the miracle is coming from out of time, miracles are not, do not follow the temporal order. So in other words, they alter the temporal order. Um, the Course talks about how miracles save time. And a miracle, and what they do is they save time because the lessons that we're here to learn are learned in the miracle because it's a change in our perception from false perception to true perception to seeing clearly the oneness of everything that is rather than the separation. Okay, and so the miracle is both beginning and endings because it undoes the idea of separation, which is that I am a body that has a beginning and an end. Because that's what separation is seeing things, you know, my lemon tree has a season, a beginning where it gives lemons, and then it stops giving lemons. It has an end. So So the miracle undoes that perception of that separation of beginning and end, which is what time is. And so they alter that temporal order. Okay, and therefore it saves time, because that lesson that we learn will not have to be repeated, and so we can skip. You can fast forward. And jump and skip a few grades. So maybe you're in 6th grade, but heck, this miracle the lesson you just learned, that was going to take 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So guess what? You're going to jump to 9th grade. Okay. And so they are always affirmations of rebirth. So in other words, one day you're in 6th grade, and voila, next day you're in 9th grade. So you have just been reborn. You have just skipped 2 lifetimes. I mean, I'm just making this up, but just to get the idea across. But let's see. And so, which seem to go back, but really go forward. So the reason why it seems to go back is because the lessons that we think we're learning, we've already learned. It's just that we forgot that we already learned them. So that's why we can jump grades. Okay. Because once we remember, it's like, oh, of course, I already know that. And so the miracle is kind of like that aha moment where you say, oh yeah, of course, it's like, it's a knowing. Of course, I already knew that, um, so why was I so confused? Anyway, and so they really take us forward, okay, because it's clarity. The mind is becoming clear. Those blocks are being released. And so they undo the past in the present. Okay. And those blocks are really just the past, the unhealed past, those grievances that we're holding on to and that we have not let go. But in the present, we can forgive them and we can let them go. And because of that, they do not have to be repeated in the future. And so the future is also released. Because the future is basically just a repetition of the past, of the unlearned lessons. And that's why if you can read the past, you can read the future. So nothing new under the sun.
It just seems to be new, but it's not. Just
It's
takes on
not
a different form, but it's the same thing.
the same lesson. Exactly. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Should we stop here at number 14? What do you think, Connie? Or do you want to try to do that one too?
I think I can handle one more. You need a break.
Yeah. Sounds good. Let's
Just a bathroom break.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
I think I can handle one more.
All right.
All
All right.
right.
I think it's Sonia's turn.
14.
14, okay. Miracle.
No? Did we just do that?
Actually, I think
No, we did number 13. We did 13.
Oh, we did. Yes, we're on 14. Yeah.
miracles bear witness to truth. They are convincing because they arise from conviction. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather, the uncreative use of mind.
Okay. There's quite a bit in there because it talks about magic. Okay, so let's just take the first line. Miracles bear witness to truth. Yes, because their source is truth. Truth is another way to say God, to say unconditional love. Okay, and that's what they witnessed to. Okay, now because we make miracles so rare and not normal, we can literally disregard them and say, oh, that was just a fluke. They're not true. Okay. Okay, so however, they are convincing because they arise from conviction. And conviction is very close to knowing. It's a knowing, you know.
Mm.
So and it's not just information, and knowing has certainty in it. Um, and therefore that certainty is let's see, that certainty means there's no fear.
Mm.
Okay, because without conviction there's going to be fear, and they deteriorate into magic. And so people will perform magic rituals hoping to perform a miracle. Um, because they're still wanting to hold on to fear.
Mm.
But bring about healing. And that's a contradiction. And that's what magic is. Magic is a contradiction
So
that
why
we
are they
believe
still
in,
holding? So why are they still holding on to the fear in
because
that process?
because they're without conviction.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't have conviction, if there's not a knowing that that is truth, okay, miracles bear witness to the truth. But if you have a little doubt
Mm.
that truth is really truth, okay, you're not going to be convinced, and therefore that little doubt is going to deteriorate into magic, into a belief in magic. And so you're going to place your belief in what is mindless. Okay. And it says here, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather the uncreative use of mind. And therefore we're going to make medicine, you know, pills, chemicals. We're going to use physical agents, okay, which are mindless, but which we believe in, and therefore have a placebo effect. However, because we perceive them as separate from us, they're going to have side effects that are destructive. Okay, they're going to give relief, but long term, they have these destructive side effects. And so we are using the mind for miscreating, which is the uncreative use of the mind, by giving power to what is made limited as a physical agent. Yeah, to heal. So they don't really heal, they manage symptoms, you see, and you have to have control. That's why sometimes you have to take one medicine to control the side effects of another medicine. Yeah.
So, and now we have the virus. So a friend had both vaccines, and then he got a breakthrough, the breakthrough variant, and got really ill.
Yeah. Yes, because magic is not 100%. Okay. You know, we believe in it, and so it's going to work most of the time. But because the level of belief is the level of duality, there's always an element of uncertainty. And that element of uncertainty is fear. Okay. And if you go into fear, you're going to go into doubt of your own beliefs. And that doubt is going to have to manifest to prove you correct in your doubt.
Interesting.
Because again, see, magic is without conviction, without certainty.
It is without
Yeah.
certainty.
So there's nothing wrong with it. And, you know, if that's the best we can do, that's the best we can do when we're in fear.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so there's nothing wrong with taking the vaccines. There's nothing wrong, but, you know, recognize where the true source of healing comes from. Okay, and recognize where the cause of sickness comes from. It doesn't come from God. Okay, it comes from the from our ego thought systems, from those thoughts that vibrate very, very low
Mhm.
and are based in fear.
Mhm.
And when we hold on to those thoughts, okay, the energy in the body gets stagnant. And it does not do a good job of keeping the body vibrant and healthy, and, you know, does not do a very good job of getting all those organs to function properly.
That's a good way to look at any kind of doubt. It just stagnates the energy in the body. Any little bit of resistance, just blocks that flow.
Yeah, it blocks that flow.
Mm.
And so, you know, in terms of the energy system of the body, some parts of the body are going to get too much energy because there's a block there. And the other parts of the, you know, uh, the the other parts down the channel of that energy where the block is are going to be starving. They're not going to be getting enough energy. So
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
imbalance. I mean, that's the word that's
Mhm.
used for the
Mhm.
imbalance. But you know, but ultimately it's getting stuck in fear.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Which is the uncreative use of mind.
Yeah. I like looking at fear as uncreative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just yeah, fear is very uncreative.
It's very uncreative. Unfortunately, we believe it and therefore give it power.
Yes.
Yes. And so it seems to have real effects because of that, but it's
Mhm.
all our mind. And if we
Mhm.
withdraw that belief, it would not have those effects. So the power of the mind it's very powerful. You know,
Okay.
we don't want to underestimate the power of our mind when we use it uncreatively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so we'll start next time on number 15.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
All right.
make a note of that.
Maybe we'll
Okay.
have some miracles to share.
Yes, they're normal and everyday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
we're awake. When we're awake.
Yes, and open to receiving them.
What?
And open to receiving them.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you both.
Okay.
Too.